Hello friends, welcome back to the channel Merely on Time Watch Reviews. My name is Chris and I unbox and review budget watches, and today is the day that I give you my thoughts on this Rotary Gents Aquaspeed. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're going to get up close and personal with this one in the montage that I always do for my watch reviews. But before we jump into that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so. Really appreciate all the amazing support. We are really moving along well, getting close to 1,700 subscribers. I do plan to do a really nice giveaway at 2,000 subscribers, so please help me out by hitting subscribe if you are new to the channel. I'm excited about this piece because, in my opinion, for the budget watch market, this is one of the nicer, if not the nicest, Brietling Navi Homage watch that you can get. It's certainly not perfect, but I think for the price that you can get this at, and I will leave a link in the description below where I bought this watch, as well as a link to the website for Rotary. Now, you're not going to find this watch on Rotary's website any longer. I bought it off of a website from the UK called Rubicon Watches, and again, I'll leave the link in the description below. But this is a really, really nice piece, and I think it really does a great job homaging the Brietling. And so with that, let's just get up close and personal now with the montage that I do. Enjoy. Okay, before we dive into the review, let me just show you what I'm wearing on my wrist today. This is the Addies Dive Quartz Subby Homage. You can get this for under 60 Canadian dollars on Aliexpress. I'll leave a link in the description, and as you can see, I put it on this nice green FKM rubber strap. I also bought that from an Aliexpress store, and I'm going to do a video about these straps soon because they're absolutely fantastic. And what is coming up next? Well, we have to do the full review of this Swiss-made mechanical by Epos that was sent to the channel for review. This thing is absolutely beautiful. I have really enjoyed the time that I have spent with this, and this is just a fantastic piece One of the nicer skeleton watches I think that you will be able to get. Luxury item. This costs over 2,500 Canadian dollars, so there are some things about this watch that I think for the price point could have been done much better. I will give those details in the full review, which is coming up in a few days' time, but here we are to look at this Rotary Aquaspeed. Rotary Gents Aquaspeed. And so let's just deal with the basic specifications. We're looking at a price of 154 Canadian dollars. And not only will you get it for that price, you can get it in different colorways. Here is the website where I got the watch, and as you can see, there are 3 other color options, or 3 other variations, I should say, to get. The one thing that I like about this watch compared to the ones that are on offer in the different variations is this one has the just applied indexes at the 5-minute intervals. The other ones have the numbers, and I think you can see there that the complications actually squish away some of those numbers, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Squish away. Not sure that's the right term. But anyway, back to the specs. So 154 bucks. You have a case size of 42.5 millimeters, a thickness of 11.8. Your lug width is 22 millimeters for this one. Your lug to lug is 48 millimeters. You have a water resistance of 5 atmospheres, and you get a 2-year warranty with this one. And you also have just a mineral crystal covering the dial. A solid stainless steel construction for the case and the case back, and you can see that Rotary has been making watches since 1895. They are a UK brand. I suppose you could call them, the Timex of the UK. They are well established and have been making watches for a long time, and they are quality timepieces. So let's just take a look at what some of you said as I did the unboxing of this watch. My pal David Schwartz said, "Great brand and an excellent homage for anyone that's a fan of the Navi. I enjoyed the heck out of the few Rotary watches that I've owned." Thanks, David. We have from Sabine B. "Nice, I've never heard of this brand before. Just checked out their website and they have some nice products." And finally, my pal Watch62, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, please head on over and do that. You'll see a link right now for his channel in the top corner there. He says, "Rotary has been catching my eye. Definitely looks great, Chris." And I have to say that I absolutely agree. This is a real stunner. So let's just kind of talk about what you get with this watch. The watch comes supplied on this leather strap, and I do have to say that right out of the box it was quite comfortable to wear. Wasn't too stiff at the top as some leather bands, some cheaper ones that you can get are. There is a bit of a suede underside to that. Rotary embossed on the one side, genuine leather on the other. Only regret with respect to this band is no quick release spring bars. I think every watch company put quick release spring bars on. Just makes it so much easier to swap out the band. It does have a fixed keeper and a floating keeper, and it does have quite a nice polished buckle with the Rotary branding on that as well. And so for the price, you're getting a decent strap, solid stainless steel construction on the case, the pushers, everything. You do have some really nice finishing on the side, a nice mirror polished on that side. I wish the brushing transition to that lug was a little bit better defined, if I'm going to be honest, but there are some brushing on the tops of the lugs, and so I wish it was defined a little bit more, perhaps a little bit more satiny, make it stand out a little bit more against the polishing on the side, but nonetheless it is done quite nice. You do have a screw down crown. Water resistance of 50 meters is likely due to the style of pushers here. They're not screw down. but you do have a screwed down crown. You can see that the crown is branded with the Rotary logo on it. And so, yeah, here is the dial, and one of the things that I really liked about this particular watch is it does have a working slide rule bezel. The watch that I had originally was a Sterling original, one of the Sterling Monacos. It was a Brietling Navi Homage, but it had a slide rule bezel, but it didn't work. It just was there for looks. This one, you have a working slide rule bezel by turning the crown at the 10 o'clock position. You can rotate the slide rule bezel in both directions. I will say, though, I would have preferred to have a bidirectional friction bezel that can turn on this, because in all intents and purposes this is kind of impractical. In order to use the slide rule bezel, you really do have to take off the watch, I guess, unless you wear it on your right hand, and then you can access the crown with your left hand while it's on wrist, but it makes it pretty difficult to use if you are wearing your watch on the left hand like myself, and makes it difficult to adjust. So I would have rather have seen a bidirectional friction bezel on that, but perhaps they added the crown just to make a bit of a distinction between this watch and the watch that they are homaging. Typical chronograph doesn't indicate what movement is inside this, but if I had to guess, it's a Seiko VD, maybe they're 57. You have your 3 subdials, 24-hour, your 60-second timer for the chronograph, and your 60-minute timer for the chronograph there. The Rotary and their logo is printed, and those silver indices, the double batons at the 12, as well as the ones at every 5-minute interval, are applied. And guys, I just think this is a fantastic homage watch for that Breitling date window there that you can see. Not color matched, the date wheel, but nonetheless, I don't mind this. This is something that a lot of people aren't a fan of, the position of that date wheel, but I don't mind it. And one of the things that I like about the fact that they used batons here is none of them are cut off. They go perfectly around the subdials, whereas, as I'll show you on the website again, the other variations of this one have the numerals, and the numbers get cut off by those subdials, and so they've done a nice job with this one. The other regret that I would have with this one, especially when you consider the original price point of about $300, no sapphire crystal on the dial, just a mineral crystal covering the dial. And the other thing that I am not a huge fan of with respect to the particular kind of movement that they used in this watch is the actual chronograph movement itself. I would have preferred to have a Mecaquartz movement, and yeah, just as you can see, we'll start the timer. Another thing I would say that I wish was different was I wish that the pushers were a little bit more tactile. They're just kind of springy. There is no clicking when you push the pushers in. I don't know if that has something to do with the style of movement, the fact that it is not a Mecaquartz or a mechanical quartz, but I wish that the pushers were just a little bit more tactile. So the chronograph has started. You can see it's running there. The seconds hand is going around, and in order to stop it, you just push in that button. And then this is the reason why I'm not a huge fan of these particular chronograph movements, is the slow reset. And if it has been running for several minutes, you know, it'll take a while for the chronograph to reset. The subdials are really, really nice. You saw in the up close and personal the nice finishing on the subdials. There's some radial pattern when you get up close to those subdials. And I must say that in certain light they look silver, and in certain light they throw off like a champagne color, which is really, really fantastic in my opinion. And so crown engagement on it is quite nice as well. It is a screw down crown. you pop it out to the second position or the first position. There is a nice little click there, and you can just rotate it to change the date. Let's see, you rotate it clockwise, and that will change your date window. And of course, if you pull it all the way out, it will hack the movement, and you can set your time. Now, just a caution, when you have the movement pulled and hacked, you don't want to push these chronograph pushers. They will move the seconds hand. You can reset it, but it's a bit of a pain to do it. It takes a while. So make sure you don't hit the pushers when you have the crown out. At any rate, you push the crown back in, the thing gets going again, and it screws in quite nicely. Really nice action on that crown. No complaints whatsoever on it. So that's it, guys. That is the Rotary Gents Aquaspeed. I'm just obviously in love with the look. The other thing I will mention, one more kind of regret, this is a 42.5mm case, perhaps because of the size. It looks, because I'm zoomed in, that the slide rule bezel is quite legible, but with wearing it on wrist and even just looking at it by the naked eye, this particular slide rule bezel isn't the most legible bezel in the world. Not that big of a deal, because the chances of me actually using a slide rule bezel are very, very slim. If you do want to learn how to use a slide rule bezel, I'll leave a link in the description for 2 videos, one from Caliber Corner, I believe it's called, or Crown and Caliber, something like that. And the other is, of course, one of Mark's Watch and Learns. He discusses how to use a slide rule bezel using the Seiko Flightmaster. And so if you want to learn how to use a slide rule bezel, you can go to those videos and check them out. I'll show you the lume shot right now. The lume, to be honest, isn't fantastic. You'll see as it approaches 5 minutes that the hour and minute hand are still visible, but as it gets to the 10-minute mark, the outer indices that were lumed start to fade, and the hour hand pretty much disappears at the 10-minute mark, and the minute hand is very, very hard to see as well. By naked eye, it isn't as good as it is on camera, and so I would give the lume rating fair on this. And honestly, if you're going to apply lume, make sure that it's at least good, that it'll last 15 minutes on that time lapse. But this one failed in that regard, and so the lume was a bit disappointing as well. But overall, for the price of the watch, what you were getting a really nice watch, well made, and boy, it just looks fantastic. And I am really satisfied with the leather strap on this one. I will likely order an FKM black rubber strap to go with it, just because that is my preference, if not stainless steel. FKM rubber, like the one I am wearing on my Addies dive, they're just so comfortable and nice. But let me show you this one on my wrist, and then we will give you my concluding thoughts. And here's what it looks like on my 7.5-inch wrist, and I am so in love with the job that they did with the homaging of the Brietling Navi. I mean, it just looks absolutely fantastic. As I said, for the price, I think you're getting one of the best ones that you are going to find, and they're still available on the Rubicon website. I will leave it in the description below, where you can pick this one up for about 154 Canadian dollars, and you are getting a banger for that price. It's just absolutely fantastic. Yes, there are some things that they could make different on the watch, in my opinion, but overall, I am very pleased. So thanks for checking out another review, guys. That's my thoughts on the Rotary Gents Aquaspeed. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this watch. I think if they had used a mechanical quartz movement, had those pushers a little more tactile, clicking instead of just spongy and springy, and a bidirectional friction bezel instead of using a crown to turn the slide rule bezel on this, I think would have made it absolutely, for a homage watch, perfect. But nonetheless, it is a pretty decent one. I think for a budget watch, one of the best ones that you will find. If you can think of a better one for the price, let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember, whenever you leave your house, you need to have a great looking piece to wear on your wrist like this Rotary Gents Aquaspeed. And remember, wherever you're going, to get there on time. Check out the following videos as well, and thanks for watching.